Mayor, before we take this vote, it's never been made clear to me what's the impetus for us moving forward with this, and I feel kind of just confused or flummoxed in terms of why we're addressing this issue, and that's been made clear to me what the problem is. Considering the fact that a number of people get their pleasure and their thrill and helping the least of these, not making $100,000 a year in the biggest house. I don't understand. That would make clear to me why it's an issue that's been brought to us in the first place. So before we discuss that motion thing, I'd like to know somebody up here to tell me what is the problem.
Well, the motion before us is a motion to table. So you either are speaking in favor of tabling it or against tabling it.
I'm speaking against it.
All right. Does anybody else wish to speak for or against the motion to table? Director Hendricks, you're recognized, please. Oh, if you'll hit your light again, sorry.
My concern about the motion is we did a poor job in deciding going to the polls to vote on this issue, not the school, but the tax. It's related, and I don't think that, I know I'm not going to be voting on whatever you put on this place. I'm going to get out in the community and work for it. So I just think that, why are we voting? There are things that we should be voting on that we don't vote on.
That's right.
So don't think for 1 minute that
That's right.
Director, Vice Mayor Webb, you're recognized, please.
Yes, and I'm speaking in favor of tabling this motion. As you know, I was not here last week. I spend every day out in the community trying to figure out how to feed people. And I would like to table this motion and offer something that's not a substitute motion, but something that I think would be an alternative that would probably negate us ever having to do this resolution, hopefully ever. And if you want me to explain that now, is it? But I would think because that would not be appropriate until after we have the vote. What's the...
And Mayor, I think Director Hendricks thought we were talking about.
I understand. I understand. I understand.
Tell me what she was speaking to.
It's been suggested by Director Pierce and by Vice Mayor Webb that in 8 weeks there'll be a group put together to discuss this and to try and come up with suggestions that are going to hopefully receive a consensus of approval from people who are interested in this matter. And it concerns a lot of people who are in this room and people who are not in this room. So I think that probably is a wise thing to do rather than to sit here and have argument about it when in fact there will likely be some substantive changes. So I think we can go ahead and ask for a vote on the motion to table unless somebody else wishes to speak about the motion to table. Director Adcock.
Mayor, I think Director Pierce, when he made his presentation on this, I think that Kathy was to make the second part of the presentation. I would like to hear her portion of it before we vote.
On the motion to table. All right, I'll recognize Vice Mayor Webb to elaborate on that issue.
Thank you, Mayor. There are people who, with the city and people with the various members of the Homeless Coalition have been to several different cities in the last few months. I've been to Austin and looked at some of the programs. We all know that there's not a one-size-fits-all program that we can do, but we also know that there are best practices in other cities that we can try to replicate here, that we can replicate here. And so rather than dealing with this vote tonight, I talked to some of the folks from different stakeholders, if you will, and asked what they thought about this idea, and it would be to spend about 45 days doing research on best practices and to work together to come up with a solution that they would present to the board, and it would be a group facilitated by Assistant City Manager James Jones with representative from the Interfaith Alliance, the Homeless two representatives from the Homeless Coalition, Parks and Rec, LRCBB, Downtown Partnership, LRPD, Clinton Center, and a River Market Business Owner. And each entity would pick their own representative. And they've got a timeline, and it would be, I think, the July, I counted the days, I think it's July the 10th or 11th, whatever that meeting, they would come back and present us with something that's more comprehensive than what we have now, but that would enable us to continue to take care of the folks who need the assistance, but to address some of the concerns